Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Syndrome and coming to you tonight with my thoughts on this week's Raw. And it's the last Raw before Extreme Rules. So, last chance to really impress before the pay per view. But, of course, quality of Raw has been slipping quite a bit in the last 2 or 3 weeks. So, let's see what they made of it. Okay, well, we're kicking off this week's Raw with a dance off. Yeah, not a very exciting start, I must say. To be honest, I was thinking about just skipping the first 10-15 minutes of Raw and just not watching this, but I figured I'd give it a chance anyway. And thankfully, the dance off itself between Chris Jericho and Fandango never actually gets started. So, we can be very thankful for that. But overall, this segment still, even without the dance off, it just wasn't very good. What we got to see wasn't all that bad, but it dragged on way, way too long. Yeah, I don't know why they actually dragged it on this long. Pretty basically, all that happened was a little brawl between Fandango and Jericho. They could have very easily done that in, half the time that they did it this on this episode of Raw. So, yeah, not really necessary and not very good. Also, this match, Chris Jericho versus Fandango at Extreme Rules, feels kind of slapped together last minute. I know it's a rematch between the two from WrestleMania, of course, but they haven't really had all that much interaction building up to this pay per view. Mainly because Chris Jericho was touring with Fozzy. So yeah, I don't know. This match, it's quite an unnecessary match, but I'm sure it'll be decent enough anyway. I mean, it is Chris Jericho after all, so can't be that bad. But overall, not a very promising start of this week's Raw. Which then brings us to our first match for the evening, which is Ryback versus Zack Ryder. And yeah, not much to say about this match. It was over in about a minute, and Ryback pretty basically annihilated Zack Ryder, as is to be expected. Yeah, I guess it's a momentum booster, but yeah, overall, just very pointless match, and since it was so short, really nothing to see here. So let's move on. Okay, next up we have some tag team action with Tons of Funk taking on the Primetime Players. And again, a pretty meaningless match. Neither of these two teams have a feud, so what's the point of this match? I got no idea. But Primetime Players win it. Yeah, okay, great, I guess. I mean, I'm glad to see these guys win something again, but yeah, you know, it's not a meaningful match, so this win means absolutely nothing for them. So, yeah, that's two absolutely pointless matches in a row. And a dance off. Great start. Okay, and then we finally get to a half decent match here. Yep, we have Kofi Kingston going up against Damien Sandow. In what was, yeah, a pretty good match. It didn't go on very long, so we didn't get to see all that much out of these two. But what we did get to see was pretty good. So it's a step up from the meaningless matches that we've seen so far. But yeah, still nothing great though. That said, as well, it was announced now that we're going to get Kofi Kingston going up against Dean Ambrose of The Shield for the United States Championship at Extreme Rules. Yeah, okay, Dean Ambrose going for the United States Championship. I'm totally cool with that, but Dean Ambrose versus Kofi Kingston, yeah, how are we supposed to believe that, Kofi Kingston has even the slightest bit of chance against, Dean Ambrose? Dean Ambrose is a guy that just beat Kane and Daniel Bryan both in singles competition and was able to go toe to toe with The Undertaker a couple of weeks back, also in singles competition. So, and what? Now Kofi Kingston is gonna give him a tough battle? Yeah, I don't think so. I'm expecting a very easy win at Extreme Rules, as well it should be. But yeah, overall, this segment, it was decent enough. Which then brings us to a pretty standard promo between Mark Henry and his Extreme Rules opponent, Sheamus. And yeah, this is a pretty basic cookie cutter promo, but to be honest, I'm rather happy to see them in this kind of promo rather than the entire, tug of war and, tow trucking, not very interesting stuff. This, as basic as it was, at the very least, it furthered the feud a little bit, and it made us a little bit excited about the strap match stipulation. So yeah, this promo, I think personally, did more work than the previous 4 or 5 promos together that these guys did. So yeah, decent enough job. Even though it wasn't anything spectacular, it did the job. Alright, next up we have Antonio Cesaro versus Randy Orton. Yep. Oh, good God. Why? Why give us this match again? Seriously, this is what? At the very least, a dozen times that we've seen this match now in the last couple of months. Seriously, WWE just cut it out. Give these guys someone else to fight. And no, not Wade Barrett. Let Randy Orton fight someone else. Let him fight a main event guy. Just anyone but Barrett or Antonio Cesaro. Seriously. We've seen it enough. I'm done with it. Match itself wasn't actually that horrible, but yeah, seriously, like I said, I was pretty basically yawning all the way through it because everything they were doing I've already seen 1,000 times before by now. So yeah, not a good choice, guys. Not a good choice, but well, we had to watch it. Right, and next up we have Heath Slater going up against a returning Miz. Yeah, considering Miz is a returning superstar, I would have much preferred to see him go up against, a somewhat higher profile guy. But yeah, okay. This was, yeah, again, pretty pointless match. I hear now that The Miz is actually going to be in the pre-show of the Extreme Rules pay-per-view. As usual, I'm probably not going to watch it, so it doesn't really matter all that much. But I gotta admit, Cody Rhodes versus The Miz, it could actually be a pretty good match. Being the pre-show, it'll probably get a little bit of time, so yeah, could be a good match. Might actually be worth watching. Who knows? Would be the first pre-show that I've seen in a couple of months now, so yeah, maybe I will. But yeah, as for this match, yeah, I don't think the outcome was ever in any doubt. Heath Slater hasn't won anything in God knows how long, so yeah, The Miz won it. Not very impressively. The match itself was decent enough, but again, nothing spectacular, and much like the rest of this Raw so far, fairly pointless. Alright, and we're finally getting to a good match here. Yeah, that's right. We got John Cena and Team Hell No going up against the Shield in a six-man elimination tag team match. Yeah, pretty interesting match, pretty good match. The outcome, not that big a fan of, but yeah, well, it is what it is. We got the Shield losing by disqualification. I don't know. It's a disqualification loss. It's not really that bad, but still, it ruins the Shield's unbeaten run, and I don't really see any point to, ending that streak, on a random episode of Raw. But, well, it is what it is, and we are where we are. So, yeah, at the very least, we still get to look forward to the tag team championship match at Extreme Rules, which is going to be, of course, Team Hell No versus Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns. And yeah, should be a pretty interesting match. And most likely, personally, I hope we're going to see all three members of the Shield with golds around their waist at the end of Extreme Rules. And yeah, should be nice. They can go a lot of ways with that as far as feuds are concerned afterwards. So could be very interesting and could be the start of something great. And let's face it, the Shield's already great, so greater still. Overall, this segment can't complain. It's the first part of this Raw that I was actually entertained by the match. So yeah, also definitely match of the evening. Not much competition today, but yeah, it was a good match. So nothing to complain about. Okay, next up we have Jack Swagger going up against Biggie Langston, and yeah, surprisingly enough, was an actually pretty good match. When I heard these two were gonna go at it, I wasn't really expecting all that much, to be honest. Like I've said before, I've not been all too impressed with Big E Langston, and Jack Swagger seems to be in a little bit of a rut lately. Definitely with, pretty basically kicking Ziggler into the hospital last week, but never mind that. But yeah, the match that we got to see here was actually pretty good. Wasn't quite as great as the Shield match, of course, but yeah, it was still proper enough. Personally, I just don't understand how the hell Swagger actually managed to win the vote against Del Rio. Um, I was pretty sure that Del Rio was gonna win it, but pretty much Swagger won it by a landslide. Didn't really see that one coming. Not entirely sure whether that was a completely fair vote, but whatever. Um, but yeah, overall, this entire segment pretty good. Of course, it came with sad news. Dolph Ziggler has, officially been confirmed not to be there at Extreme Rules. So the triple threat ladder match is off the cards, and instead, what we get is a I Quit match between Jack Swagger and Del Rio. Yay! Hmm. Not looking forward to it. No, no, no. The triple threat ladder match. Oh, I was so looking forward to that match. Definitely the one match that was there at Extreme Rules that I was really, really looking forward to. And now it gets replaced with a match that I really could care less about, to be honest. Really, if they had just kept it a ladder match, I would have been cool with it. It would have probably still made for an interesting enough match. But right now, the I quit stipulation between two guys that frequently finish off their opponents with a submission maneuver. It's not going to be interesting. It's probably either going to be Del Rio locking in his armbar and making Swagger say I quit, or Swagger doing his Patriot Act and making Alberto Del Rio quit. It's probably not going to be interesting, and really not looking forward to it. Definitely not a proper substitute for the triple threat ladder match, but yeah, what can you do? Dolph Ziggler's hurt. He's got to heal. Pretty basically all you can say about that. Much rather that he properly heals up right now than rushes back into a match and potentially picks up a bigger injury. So yeah, let him take a couple of days off. At the very least, it was announced that Dolph Ziggler is going to get to keep his title. So that's at the very least a good thing. I'm really happy that he gets to keep his title. Like I said, we've waited a long time to finally see Dolph Ziggler with the title, and if he were to lose it in this kind of fashion right now, yeah, that would have really sucked. But yeah, that's not gonna happen. Dolph Ziggler is going to get to keep his title and face off against Alberto Del Rio or Jack Swagger, depending on who wins this Sunday. So yeah, could be interesting. We'll get to see. As far as this match was concerned, like I said, pretty decent match. Could be worse. We've seen worse. And yeah, so we saw worse, and we get to see worse as here come the Divas. We got AJ going up against Natalia, and yeah, this is normally where I say, another Divas match, moving on. But I gotta be honest, this Divas match wasn't actually all that bad. That's not to say it was a good match, definitely not. But considering the quality that we had, for the rest of this Raw, this match wasn't actually all that bad. Also, AJ Lee using her new finisher, what did they call it? Black Widow, I think. It looked like an interesting move. Not really sure whether you can really hurt someone with a move like that, but hey, it looked pretty cool. So yeah, I'm okay with that. Yeah, but apparently we're not gonna get a titles match at Extreme Rules for the Divas Championship. Okay, not like I really care, but I was kind of expecting AJ Lee to go up against Caitlyn at Extreme Rules, but apparently we're going to get that match some other time. Okay, well, could actually still be a fairly interesting match. So it's a Divas match to look forward to. Go figure. Alright, and then we get the finishing segment of this week's Raw with Brock Lesnar and Triple H going at it. In a pretty good, solid promo. Triple H actually did a pretty good job there. Usually, for most of this feud, we've had Paul Heyman doing most of the talking. Brock Lesnar, I haven't pretty basically heard a guy speak a word in months, so never mind him. But yeah, Triple H doesn't really cut too long promos either. But this week, yeah, his promo was definitely good. He showed a lot of intensity and use of the word hate. Yeah, like Heyman said afterwards, bit of a taboo word still, but this is Triple H. You can get away with anything. Let's face it. That's what you get when you sleep with the boss's daughter. So, yeah, overall, this entire segment, very, very good. The promo was good, both by Triple H and Heyman. The brawl that ensued afterwards was also very well done. So, yeah, overall, a very good segment and a perfect way to close off Raw. A Raw that was very, very weak all the way throughout, almost. But yeah, at the very least, they went out strong. So yeah, as an ending, nothing to complain about. Alright, so what did I think about the show in general? Well, I don't think it's gonna come as a surprise to anyone that I didn't really care all that much for this week's episode of Raw. We had a hell of a lot of very, very pointless matches, subpar promos, and yeah, matches that we've seen a bazillion times already. So, yeah. There were a couple of high points, definitely. The Shield versus Team Hello and Cena match was definitely good. The Triple H and Brock Lesnar promo was definitely good. Hell, even the Swagger versus Biggie Langston match was definitely proper. But yeah, that's pretty basically the three things right there that kept this Raw from just being absolutely the worst Raw I've ever seen. Because other than those three things, there was really very little worthwhile watching on Raw this week. And considering this was the go home Raw episode, as they say, last Raw before the pay per view. Ooh, very, very weak, guys. What were you thinking? Seriously. I mean, this is how you lose your money, to be honest. I mean, the Raw right before the pay per view, and they just go, they just flat Raw that is just very, very uninteresting, pretty much all the way through, except for a little bit of a peak at the end. Yeah, not the best way to win yourself viewers for your pay per view a couple of days later. So, yeah, maybe SmackDown is going to save the day Friday. I don't know. But I wouldn't count on it, to be honest. So, yeah. What were they thinking? Seriously. Such a horrible Raw right before the pay per view. Just unbelievable, seriously. Definitely considering we came off a pretty damn strong SmackDown, last Friday. It's just unbelievable that they came up with something this weak. Right now, the very moment that it actually mattered. But yeah, okay, well, Extreme Rules is coming this Sunday, and no doubt I'm going to watch it. Whether this week's SmackDown Raw was weak or not, I was gonna watch it anyway, so whatever. But they really should have done better with this. But yeah, I'll be doing my Extreme Rules preview probably tomorrow. Get my predictions and my thoughts on the different matches that have been confirmed, and yeah, maybe get some interest going. Who knows? But until then, thank you very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen, and I'll see you next time.